Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Courtside with Coach Crist show. This is the February 1st edition. Gorb, January is gone. Back into February now. And tough time of year sports-wise because football, we got, 3.5 hours NFL left. Mm-hmm. Then you're in, middle of NBA season, which nobody plays hard. There's nothing else going on until March Madness. So this is kind of a lull period. So tough time of year. But we are here on Courtside with hopefully a good lineup of guests for you. We appreciate you tuning in. We hope that you'll like and subscribe on YouTube. Also, give us a like on Facebook. That always helps us out. So, and remember, you can tune in at any time and watch. It's all archived, so you get plenty of shows. Gorb, how's things going in the basketball world?
It's been a long week already, and it's nowhere close to being over. We've been on the road at Hurricane. We've been on the road to Bluefield. We're back on the road at Riverside tomorrow, and then we're going back to Brush Fork on Saturday for a game with Graham.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Get this time of year when you have, I don't know if any of them are makeup games, but when you have cancellations, man, things start getting jammed up.
Yep.
It don't take many to cause it either because time keeps on rolling and you lose the games. You got to get them in there somewhere. So that makes it hard. This is a rough time of year for that. Of course, hopefully the weather's straightened up now. We won't have any of that. We had about a week and a half or so. And
well, a weatherman, not our weatherman, he's talking about some type of Alaskan Ridge. I think we're going to get something in the middle of February. That's what he's saying. I don't know if our weatherman's keeping up track with that or not.
Yeah, we'll have to check in with Muggy and see if he's anything about the
Alaskan Ridge.
Yeah, what that don't sound too good, does it? We'll have to check in with Muggy and see. And speaking of Muggy, what we always like to do at the beginning of the show, we like to go out to our one eye in the sky, our Chopper 1 out there in the air, Chopper 1 forecast traffic and weatherman, Mr. Muggy McLeod. Muggy, are you out there?
Yes, sir, Coach. Good evening. This is Muggy McLeod with my sassy side squeeze misty rain as we flutter along the dust-ridden skyline of Elizabeth, West Virginia.
Elizabeth, West Virginia. There you go.
Yes, sir, Coach. We are fluttering along like two doves looking for rice thrown by a wedding party to choke on because we think it's birdseed.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, this is the one eye in the sky, NRN Chopper 1 traffic and weather report. And just for Gorby's information, the Alaskan Ridge is fake news. Anyway, as I mentioned, we are flying over the big city of Elizabeth, West Virginia, in search of human existence.
Huh. Ain't a lot going on there, huh?
Not going too well, Coach. But I will tell you a little history. The county seat of Wirt County is Elizabeth and has a population of 706 and is best known for its, let me see here. Elizabeth was the fairer and smaller, more fragile neighboring county, but located by the larger and more beautiful Little Canal River.
Right.
It's a peaceful water stream. Okay, I made all that up. Yep. Anyway, now zip toward Parkersburg. More news. And as we pass over the Palestine Road area, where deep potholes fill the streets and neighbors swing insults toward one another. Now over to the Depot Street, where traffic is slowing down at Dick's Market. It's Thursday, which means everyone is there looking at Dick's for their special, which is, you guessed it, cantaloupes. Okay. On now over to Juliana Street, where there's a new business opening. You ready there, Coach, for the new business?
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, Coach, it's Jizzle James Jiffy Lube.
Oh, Jizzle James Jiffy Lube. Jizzle James played last night with the Cincinnati Bearcats. Gorb, I don't know if you noticed that or not.
I didn't watch it. I was at the girls' game last night.
Okay, Jizzle James was a player for the Bearcats.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Mr. Gorby was off and watching bigger and better things.
Yes,
anyway,
absolutely.
Well, Jizzle James Jiffy Lube is right beside of Dick's Market. How convenient.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Over to the weather, Coach, brought to you by, you guessed it, Dick's Market, where by mentioning this ad, you'll get a free lube job when you buy the 5-minute special lube job.
Huh.
Wowee! You just can't beat Dick's Market. It's been around for a long time.
Yes, sir. Awesome. That's a good deal, too.
Yes, sir. Any deal that you get at Dick's is a good deal.
That's right.
Okay, Coach, tonight's weather is a cool, drizzly, damp, and dark night. In other words, crappy. And the forecast, because of that Alaskan rich thing, is probably going to be crappy too here in a couple weeks. But spring is just around the February.
Yeah.
Okay, Coach, this has been Muggy McLeod and Misty Rains with your one eye in the sky, NRN Chopper One's weather and traffic report. Baby, we got to go.
All right, Muggy, talk to you soon. Stay safe.
Yes, sir. Over now.
All right, bye-bye. Muggy McLeod coming to us from Elizabeth, West Virginia. Gorber was a time, the basketball coach at Work County told me once that people in Elizabeth and Work County thought that Midland Trail was the mecca of high school basketball. We go up and play in these tournament every year. He had a tournament up there.
Go ahead.
And we would go up, and for some reason, we just always seemed to win it. And we beat some really good teams up there. And those folks thought we were great.
I've been in that tournament before, and we won it.
Yep. Yeah, we went up there, 3 or 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
And like I said, beat some really good teams. Williamstown.
I remember.
Teams like that.
I remember we beat. That's who we beat in the championship was Williamstown. They scored maybe 21, 22 points. I mean, it was low like that.
Yeah.
And but that was more. I mean, but we only scored like 45 or 47. That was Sorrow. How do you say his
Sorrow.
name? Sorrow.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim Murray was a coach at Work, and he's
Is he still?
No. He's gone.
Isn't Work County where Jessica Lynch is from?
Yes, she is, Elizabeth. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's Jessica Lynch's. I guess their claim to fame up there because there's not a whole lot going on there.
Mount Hope played them in football a couple of years. So I've been there before.
Been there? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been there for that Christmas tournament, but I've been there for football as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Not a lot going on. Anyway, we have this segment on here now, too, that we do. I hope you prepared. I don't know if I should have reminded you, but we do our Hell Yeah and Hell No segment, and we both pick a couple Hell Yeahs and a couple Hell No's. It's my turn to go first, so I'm going to go ahead and do mine.
Okay.
So my first Hell Yeah is the WVU basketball team, and we won a game last night, which is always good. And when they play well, when they play together and pass the ball, move the ball, they got Jesse Edward back. They looked halfway decent last night.
Well, I watched Saturday, the Oklahoma State game, and, Jesse was free throws is about the only thing he was really kind of timid with.
Right.
He was his legs were kind of dead there on Saturday, but that's kind of expected a little bit.
Yeah,
but, man, you can just tell a difference of he creates a lot of missed shots or gets some rebounds that we haven't been getting. And now hopefully we're going to be – of course, Sumnick's been scoring in the paint a little bit, but, he's kind of upped his game the past couple of weeks, but we're not – I don't want to say we're not banking on that, but, Jesse is – a little bit different down there than Sumnick. So
his only problem last night was the free throws again. I think he was.
Well, I think that's where it's still wrapped up a little.
12.
But he made one. Didn't he make one? He made one late. Didn't he?
He
made it 2 possessions.
Yeah,
so.
And he wasn't the only one missing them. I mean, we had there in the last minute and a half. We probably had 7 or 8, and we made like 2 of them. So
so
that's a struggle.
So what's that, Matt? Are we 3 and
5?
3 and 5 in the conference.
Yep.
10 games left.
Yep.
So I mean, if they can get, obviously they're not going to. You can't go 10-0 in this conference. You can't do it, and we're just not. We don't have that depth of a team. But man, if any way they can get above that 500 mark, in the Big 12, that would be.
Eilert should be coach of the year.
Yeah, that would be huge. So we'll see. They got BYU this weekend.
Yeah.
And
they need to put a couple together, get their confidence built a little bit.
Yeah,
get them
last week would have been that would have been a big week if they couldn't learn to win a game on the road. Yep. And the two teams that had not knocking UCF, but they're aren't they kind of down where we're at in the conference in the standings, and then obviously Oklahoma State's last right now. So that would have been that one of those two would have been pretty good to get, but just.
And the thing about the Oklahoma State game was we had it right there in our hand. We just let it slip away. We were talking about it last night on the show that I do up in Morgantown. Daryl Prue and I were talking. They played well. That 3/4 of the game, passing the ball, moving the ball on offense, getting good looks. They weren't shooting it great, but they were getting plenty of good looks, and they were making enough of the shots the last 4.5 minutes, they quit doing that and just couldn't score. They started going 1-on-1. It just seemed like a switch flipped and started going 1-on-1. And, they need to get tougher down the stretch. They had that game won. That game should have been in the bag. But they come back and they down the stretch against Cincinnati. Like I said, they missed some free throws that would have put the game away easily, but they hung tough and got it done in the end. So good job, man. So I'm happy. And you can't be critical. I mean, you watch them, you get upset they lose and all that. I get that, but you look at the situation Coach Eilert's been put in and what he's dealt with, and then these players not playing together, finally getting everybody
you think of that, and he did say this last night. This is game. I'm trying to think. We're 8-13,
something like that.
So this is game 21, and we finally got our team
everybody
fully together.
Yep, everybody.
We're 20 games late. To that mark, and like I said, it's going to be tough. Just to get to 500, we're going to have to go 6-4 over these last 10 games to get to that mark. So
that's not going to be easy.
No,
not going to be easy. All right, the other my other hell y'all is last night Sam Crist scored his first career college points last night. So we was fired up about that. He played against UC. He got in the game late, minute and 40 or so to go, and he shot a three, got fouled, made all three free throws.
So he didn't make a three, so he couldn't do whatever that thing is.
Injection.
Did he do this?
No,
no, he didn't do any of that.
No, because he shot the three, and I don't even know if he got fouled or not. But he always
who's his favorite actor?
I don't know, but
that happened a few times in high school.
Yeah, I don't know where he got that from, but he does it a lot. And the first thing about it, he ain't got much playing time this year, and he got in and he got a good looking shot from the top of the key, and down he went. And I'm like, what happened? He called a foul, and he shot three free throws. So,
who were they playing?
They're playing UC.
Okay.
And I told my brother about it. I said, well, he said, what was the score? I said, they got beat by 20. He said, well, could have been worse. Could have been 23. I said, that's right. That's right. Man. Could have been worse.
That's funny.
Anyway, we're happy for Sam.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy for him. And he was excited, so good for him. Our Hell Nalls, my Hell Nall, two of them. First one, the Detroit Lions going down in Gorb, and I'm not a Detroit Lions fan, but I felt like that was the Cinderella story this year, and I thought they were going to get in and win the thing. And they had chances, and they almost pulled it off.
I mean, they came out in that game. I mean, they were hot. They were hot, definitely hot. Yep. And when San Fran finally figured it out, it was. Yeah. I'm not saying they put a bow on it, but man, it was. Yeah. But yeah, it was a fun. It was a good thing. It's tough for me to say because it's one of my rivals. Yep. And but yeah, just seeing a team that hasn't had success in a long time, they were fun to watch. Even that debacle of a game with Dallas where they had that game won, and that wasn't on them at all. Right. So.
Yeah, and I have one of my former players, Dustin Nickel. He's a big Lions fan, always has been. Yeah, felt for those guys. Josh Green's another one. He's a big Lions fan, so you feel for those guys. I know what they feel like because I'm a Browns fan. I've been living through it too my whole life. Right. So, so I was kind of hoping they'd pull it out, but they didn't. So that's my Hell Nall. The other Hell Nall, right along the same lines, that's connected to that same lines. Get it? Pun. Is the fact that Kansas City's in another Super Bowl, and I'm sick of seeing them.
Well, I kind of had something, but I was going on the other side on it. Man, I think everybody kind of thought, man, they ain't they're not going to go in there and win, and man, they just do it. They just
you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Like it's funny. It's funny how this year's Kansas City team is. It's not like the teams they've had these past few. I mean, when they had Tyreek Hill, I mean, they were scoring at will, and this season they had to just figure it out, and they struggled for a little bit, and but I tell you what, that defense is a whole lot better.
Defense really good.
Yeah,
defense really good. In fact, I heard the question posed today. If you're the 49ers, are you more concerned about Patrick Mahomes or are you more concerned about Kansas City's defense. And that was the question that they talked about because how good.
How about that play at the goal line?
Yeah,
the guy, man, that just that was so wild. And that was probably the gut punch of of it. I mean,
it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I don't care how you feel about him, like him or not.
I just don't understand why any of these teams haven't got Gibby as a DC. He hasn't figured out.
He shut him down.
He's 0-2. Gibby's 2-0 against him.
Yep.
Yeah, a little bit different talent. A little bit different talent.
Yep.
That's where I was gotta go with my hell yeah. And I don't know if you're sick of him personally, but Travis Kelce.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
You don't like him.
Well, I like him. I like watching play. He's a heck of a player. But you just get tired of hearing all this stuff after a while. You're like, all right, already. Just
so you don't want me to say anything about him breaking Rice's record?
If you'd like, you can.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
That is cool.
I'm going to tell you something, Coach. I watch New Heights. Do you know what New Heights is?
Yeah.
Him and his brother.
Yeah.
They're funny.
Oh yeah, they are funny. Yeah, and he's a phenomenal player. I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm just tired of all the stuff. Not anything against anybody. I like all of them.
Yeah,
but I'm just tired of seeing it.
I got you.
I'm done. And our audience caller probably has something to say about that tonight as well. Got a little heads up on who that is, so we'll be connecting again on that.
Okay.
But, okay.
Hey, listen. Usher is not getting bumped. He's doing the halftime show.
That's
okay,
right.
He's doing the halftime show. He's not getting bumped. Okay.
And who's doing the Reba McEntire? I think is doing the national anthem.
Okay, yeah, not getting bumped.
I think, and I think what the NFL's trying to do is pick the most non-controversial people they can find to do the national anthem. So they don't have to deal with that. I think last year it was Chris Stapleton. This year it's Reba McEntire. I mean, who's going to say anything bad about Reba McEntire?
Right.
I mean, she's 112 years old, still a good singer. Sure, so anyway.
Hey, this is sports related.
No,
so
it's all right.
Tomorrow's Groundhog Day.
Yes, it is.
And maybe, I don't know if you've heard the state news. They've gone back and forth of what's that little thing up in. It's either around Buchanan or Philippi.
Yeah, Puxatawny Field guy.
Well, I was talking about the part what the location was called.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yes.
Anyways, it's shut down.
Right.
It's shut down for something. I don't know what they.
Right.
And it's shut down by the feds or something like that, right?
Yeah, something going on, yeah.
Well, anyways, they weren't going to even let the groundhog, the French Creek Freddy. So maybe that's what it is. It's French Creek something.
Yeah, French Creek.
So French Creek. So I guess Manchin pulled some strings or something. So it's going to be open for one day, and French Creek Freddy will be out and about.
Yeah, that's the French Creek Preserve. I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been up there too. That's a pretty cool place. I don't know what happened.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I didn't even know anything until I'd seen stuff last night about it. I was like, "Are you
really? You ain't gonna let Freddie out?"
Yeah,
see what kind of weather we're gonna have.
Yeah, we might get Freddie.
That Arctic blast coming in there. Well,
Alaskan Ridge.
Yeah. That sounds like the name of a chewing tobacco.
Oh man,
Alaskan Ridge.
Man, like I said, I haven't really thought. Man, I'm trying to think of some hell no's here. Man.
I tell you what we'll do.
Back-to-back away games on Monday and Tuesday being on a school bus.
There you go. I was getting ready to say
it's not the game. It's just being on that school bus at
it's killer.
11 p.m. at night.
It's killer, isn't it?
It gets worse every year.
Yeah, and the older you get, trust me, the older you get, the harder it gets. And, yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah, like I said, the older you get, the harder it gets. And you guys, where the schedules are now, there's trips. There are trips involved. So not a whole lot you can do about it, to be honest. So, all right. Well, let's get us a break in here. Okay. That's our hell yeahs, hell no's.
I tried.
You did all right, man. You did all right. It was my fault for not reminding you. I kind of forgot about it too.
Yeah.
And where we're not being consistent enough with the show, we kind of get out of practice and forget what we're doing. So we're going to try to rectify that. So hopefully we can get that fixed. All right, let's get a quick break in here. We come back. We haven't told anybody who our guest is tonight, but we'll talk about our guest here in just a minute. When we come back from a break, we'll take another break then, get him on the phone and bring him back for the last part of the show. So we'll let you know who that is after we come back from these messages. You're watching the Courtside with Coach Crist show on the New River Network. We appreciate you joining us. Stay with us.
Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network. See hard-hitting wrestling action from today's rising stars in independent wrestling. If you are a wrestling fan of any generation, let us introduce you to the hottest wrestling promotion in West Virginia. You can also join a live show at the Crossroads Mall. Retro Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network.
Welcome back to the Courtside with Coach Crist. I caught me in my mouth full. Trying to eat me a gummy bear real quick. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. We are back, and hopefully we're going to get consistent and stay back. That's the plan. So we appreciate everybody joining us. Gord, when we went off, I mentioned our guest for tonight. We wanted to talk about him just a little bit. We're familiar with him. Some folks here may not be familiar with him, but Gary Griffith, of course, is a legendary broadcaster. He's done a lot of things in his career. He called the College World Series. He was a broadcaster back then for Coastal Carolina when they won it. He called for the Miners. He called at Princeton. He's done a lot of things broadcast-wise. He's written some books and done a lot of cool stuff. This summer, he was inducted into the
that was the first time I got to meet him. Was that day down at Artie?
Yep, got inducted into
and we got him on, didn't we? Didn't we get him on?
Yeah, he was on.
Okay, that's what I thought. We got him on.
Interview. That was the Hall of Fame, West Virginia Sports Legends Hall of Fame that he got inducted to, and we interviewed him down there that day. You can go back and watch that interview if you want. I think
Crozier got him.
Yep.
Hey, how is Crozier doing?
He's doing well. He himself just got inducted into the West Virginia
last weekend.
College or Coaches Baseball Hall of Fame, and got inducted last weekend, and had a real nice ceremony down there. He gave a nice speech, and I got a copy of it, read it, very good. So he's doing well. I've talked to him. In fact, on my way. Where was I on my way to? Probably to Morgantown to work one morning this week. I think Wednesday. I talked to him yesterday on the phone for about an hour. And he's doing good. He had a lot of fun down there with that baseball stuff. He calls me a lot about the show, wanting to get these baseball guys on because he loves that baseball, man. He'll say, "Now so and so," and I'm like, "I ain't never heard of him," but they're baseball guys, and I don't pay a lot of attention to that. So he's always talking to me about that. So we'll. And I tried to get him to come on the show and talk about his induction, but he was so busy with getting everything set up because they had a clinic. Okay. And they ended up having 60 people at their clinic, which was huge. And he's been working on that because he ran the clinic, and he was real busy with all that. But I told him we'd get him on and talk about it.
Tell him we got a mic stand for him,
there
too.
You go. Yeah, put it up in his face. So anyway, our guest that we will be talking to is Gary Griffith. And again, Gary's become a good friend of mine. We talk off on the phone. In fact, I had another guest lined up for tonight, but Gary called me this morning just out of the blue, and we talked for 15, 20 minutes, and we hung up. I thought, you know what, he just got inducted into the Hall of Fame this summer. We need to have him on. And so I've got back a hold of him and said, hey, any chance you'd be on the show tonight? So he said, absolutely. So Gary's going to join us here just a little bit. Gary's from down in the Myrtle Beach area, and he's still broadcasting. He teaches some down there, I think, at Coastal. He's still broadcasting and a great broadcaster. He does basketball, baseball, some football. And I always said when you listen to him, it's like, he paints that picture for you. So you don't have to see the picture to know what's going on. And I caught on to that when I was working with the Miners, and he was broadcasting West Virginia Miners baseball games. He would be describing uniforms, describing the weather, the sky, the crowd. He would make those descriptions, and you could just visualize it in your mind what he was talking about. So that's one of the things I always admired about him. He also had a book, Meandering in the Minor Leagues, and he talked about all his experience working throughout the years in the minor leagues and some of the things that happened to him and some of the things that went on with him throughout all that time. So hopefully he'll be he's always a good interview. We've had him on a couple times, and he's always good. He's an experienced broadcaster, so he's obviously going to be a good interview. He knows how to do that. So it's always fun to talk to Gary. So that's our guest for tonight. I hope everybody has figured that out by now, but he is our guest, and he'll be joining us here just a little bit after we take a break. We'll get him on the phone when we break, and then we'll come back and have Gary talking about his time, talking about his induction. I'm sure that means a lot to him and everybody involved with that thing down there. Got a call here. Let's get that out of the way first. Hello, it's Courtside with Coach Crist. Who am I talking to?
Good evening, Coach. This is Taylor Swiffer, and I'm a first-time caller.
Oh, Taylor Swiffer. And I know, we talked about Kelsey there a minute ago, and I'm sure there's some, some connection here with all this. First-time caller? Get their sound. So there you go, your bell ringer. What's up, Taylor Swifter?
Thank you. Well, Coach, I've become quite the football fan. So I thought I should call into you and your world-famous show. Yeah. I mean, what could up my popularity more than you and that sexy Mr. Gorby?
Oh, see, you're on your way. Yeah, you're on your way.
Right.
Incidentally, first cousin once removed on the mother's side to Taylor Swift, I believe.
Absolutely. And I'm like my cuz. I mean, she's got like 534 million social media followers.
Wow.
And I am up to 534 as well.
Cool.
I mean, that's total.
534, period. You're right. I got you.
Yes.
I got you.
Okay. Yeah. But, with the notoriety of your show, I should be up to 536 by the end of the night.
No, I think there's no question you're going to get there. Me and Gorb will follow you.
Fantastic. That means all of your 28 followers will follow as well. I'm almost up to 600.
Yep, getting close.
Yes, wonderful. So my cousin, as you might know, has been dating that average good-looking guy, Travis, who plays pro football.
Yeah.
And it's kind of become, a big deal and all, but really, is it? I mean, because what people don't know is I've been secretly dating his brother, Jason.
Oh, you better watch out, Taylor, because Jason's married.
Well, you probably saw him jump out of that big skybox window and talk to those kids in Buffalo.
We did.
Yeah, well, some rude people said he was trying to get away from me. Yours truly, but I know the real truth because, my cuz may have gotten a real tight end, but I got me more of a pulling long snapper.
Uh-huh. I gotcha.
So, to add to the rumor mills, I mean, his wife may have been in the box. I mean, he may have jumped out the window because of that. I have Anyway, and there's this crazy orange guy starting all this conspiracy about her and Travis being in this ingenious plot with the NFL to impact the outcome of the election.
Oh, really?
And that they aren't really a couple. Yes, absolutely.
I hadn't heard that.
You need to tune in. But, Coach, the high notes I heard out of that hotel last week didn't sound like Luciano Pavarotti, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Okay, well, I mean, Coach, the next thing, people will try to convince you that real news is fake news and fake news is real news. I mean, it's just a crazy world.
It is. Ain't no doubt about it. Crazy world.
Which, speaking of crazy, and that brings me to my next point and my main reason for calling, and that's plugging my new first album as well.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And, did I tell you that I get to perform live at halftime on Super Bowl Sunday?
You did not. But you bumping Usher?
No, unless Usher's on the Puppy Bowl.
Oh.
I mean, that's the halftime bowl I get to.
Oh, I got you.
But hey, you got to start somewhere.
That's right.
I mean, it is. Snoop Dogg got doggy style, so I got doggy style here too.
There you go.
Anyway, here's a list of singles that will come out this year, sometime after that fake Super Bowl.
All right.
Okay. Are you a Swiftie? Are you a Taylor Swift kind of guy?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then maybe you'll understand. So all these singles are kind of dedicated to someone or tributed. Okay. So I've got my Martha Stewart tribute. Bake It Off. Bake it off. Bake it off. You like it?
I love it.
Isn't it?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
And then I have a tribute to yours there beside you, Mr. Gorby himself.
Uh-huh.
I knew you were Barney Rubble when you walked in.
Nice.
I knew you were Barney Rubble.
Yeah.
When you walked in. Okay. All right. And then my Snoop Dogg tribute. Let's see. How did that go? You did a bone with me. You did a bone with me.
Good.
You like that one? I like that one. That's one of my personal favorites. I think that's big time right there.
That should go all the way to the top, I think.
Yes, and so then another one to dedicate Mr. Gorby. Ain't Making No Love Story.
Nice. That sounds sweet.
Oh, yes. And this is dedicated to my friend Rosie Posey. Blank space between the ears. Anyway, so, and this one is dedicated to the NRN Network Censor Crew. It's called Delicate.
All right. I think the crew likes it.
Okay. Anyway,
it's kind of a
sensitive song. It's a hot button. It's a sensitive song about their hot button.
Right. I got you.
Yes, right.
Good,
okay.
Good stuff.
And this one is dedicated to Dick's Market there in Elizabeth, West Virginia.
Uh-huh.
It is called Two is Better Than One.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Right. And finally, dedicated to all those Cowboys fans that you love. You need to calm down, son. Okay, Coach. I know you've had a fun time with me. I sure have a fun time with you, so I got to run. I got a big date with that hairy-chested manimal, JD. Jason.
All right, we'll see. We'll see you next Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Taylor Swifter, we appreciate your call. Bye-bye. Bye. Taylor Swifter, good stuff there. Gorb dedicating some songs to us. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
May go all the way to the top.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
I don't know what the top is.
I don't either. It couldn't be too high. Oh, sorry about taking that drink there. I should have waited till we went to a break.
You're good.
Yep, appreciate Taylor Swifter calling in. Let's get a quick break in. We'll get a hold of our guest tonight, Gary Griffith, and we will have him on as soon as we come back from this commercial. So stay with us here on the Courtside with Coach Chris show on the New River Network. We'll be back after these messages. Stay with us.
Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network. See hard-hitting wrestling action from today's rising stars in independent wrestling. If you are a wrestling fan of any generation, let us introduce you to the hottest wrestling promotion in West Virginia. You can also join a live show at the Crossroads Mall. Retro Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network.
Welcome back.
I don't want you to choke on.
Welcome back to the Courtside with Coach Chris show. I'm Greg Crist. This is Dave Gorby. We are coming to you from the studio here at McGuffin's. We call it McGuffin's Mystery Hole out on Gatewood Road. And we appreciate you joining us. We talked about our special guest prior to us getting off for the commercial, and we've come back, and we now have that gentleman on with us. We'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Gary Griffith. Gary, appreciate you joining us, my friend.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Anytime you ask me to do something like this, it's a real treat. I want to start with maybe a philosophical statement for you in particular.
Okay.
How in the heck can a man go to work in the morning, come home in the evening, and have nothing to say? You see, part of being a journalist, sports broadcaster, is the observation rules. You've got your John Prine sticker right there on your computer. So I saw it.
I was going to say, did you notice the sticker?
That's just for you. That's
right. That's a little Christmas gift I got. So I'm glad you recognized it. I don't think I've ever been more shocked than the day we were doing the game over at Epling Stadium, and you saw my tattoo or something, and you looked at it and you said, John Prine quote from a John Prine song.
Right.
And I'm like, what? You do that? That's pretty exciting. So yeah, I'm sure you got the sticker on the back of the computer. So appreciate that. That's good stuff.
You're welcome.
Good stuff. Well, we wanted to get you on here for a couple reasons. We want to talk about your career just a little bit and what you're up to these days. But first, I want to talk to you about your induction into the West Virginia Sports Legends Hall of Fame down at the Yardley Museum this summer. First of all, congratulations on that. And that's an awesome thing and well deserved. And we just wanted to touch base with you a little bit and get your thoughts on that, how it makes you feel, what your thoughts are when you got the call, and how cool it is. I know we interviewed you down there, but I don't know that everybody got to see that, so we wanted to make sure and get you on and let you talk about it here.
Well, of course, I was honored and humbled. And you have to trace it, how far back you want to go. This would really start about 2013 when Jim Holland, who you know and a lot of people in West Virginia know, former GM of the Princeton Rays, called me. I was about to broadcast a basketball game, and Jim called me I was in a hotel room, and he said, I saved a cassette and a handwritten letter, or maybe it was an email letter. I don't remember. This is, going way back. He said that you sent me, would you like to broadcast the Princeton Rays? I'm abbreviating the conversation. My first thought was, you saved a cassette, a cassette. So that's how it started, the West Virginia connection. And through the Princeton Rays that summer, I met the aforementioned Steve Crozier that you guys talked about a while ago. And Crow is an inspiration to me. He's just a hard worker at everything he does. And we all know that. So back in the spring of last year, I was going to another basketball. No, I think it was a baseball game over at Newberry. The phone rings. It's Crow. Crow was or is the director, I guess, of the broadcasting wing of the Arty Museum. And he asked me or had nominated me or whatever. And I said, wow, that's it was great. I mean, it was a great honor.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of myself that I actually found Arty.
Yeah, that's a feather in your cap for that, no doubt about it.
Some guys there, maybe even been hollering. I said, Jim, is there a shorter way back to Beckley? He said, well, you go down here and you take a left. And I walked up to two highway patrolmen. I said, look, my buddy over here says if I go this way. They looked at me. They said, no, sir. There's only one way in and one way out. You have to go the same way.
That's right. That's right.
But
no easy way.
No easy way. And it was a great day. I appreciated it. Got to see my buddy, Mr. Gary Farber, who writes for the Register Herald. In fact, he went in to the museum that same day. So obviously, I was still very humbled and very honored to have been asked to do that.
Yep, that was awesome. I hated it. I had to miss it. I was going on a vacation at that time, but we did get down and cover it, and I got to watch your interview. That was pretty nice. Yeah, the first time that I had gone down there, I knew it was there, and it had plenty of publicity around here. Jim had called me and said, would you like to go down sometime? I was like, absolutely. I said, we'd like to do a show down there. I said, I'd go down and check it out. And so he said, well, meet me in Beckley. We met there at Cracker Barrel, I think, and we drove from there. And we started driving and we got about halfway down there. And I was like, Jim, you sure you're going the right way? He started laughing. He's like, hell yeah. And I was like, where is this place? I'd never been to Arty. So we get down there and I'm like, my gosh, this is out there, though. And we were talking about doing the show down there. And of course, there's no internet service down there, so that created a big problem for us. But Darren knows the technology, so he was able to get some kind of satellite thing hooked up so we could do shows from down there. And that was my first experience with it. So yeah, it's down there, but it's well worth the trip to go and check that place out. It's an amazing place. I mean, Tex has done a wonderful job with that place. It's got, he's got a little bit of everything in there, and it's phenomenal. And so it is a cool place, and it is nice to be inducted. And again, congratulations to you. Well deserved. I talk a lot about your broadcasting, and I know, my wife thinks I'm crazy because she'll say, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "I'm listening to a Newberry basketball game." She's like, "Who?" Hey, Newberry College. She's like, why? I'm like, because Gary's doing it, and I like to listen to him. So she's like, you're not right. So I enjoy listening to you. I often make the statement that, when I was with the Miners was my first exposure to your broadcast, and I was sitting in the booth with you, of course, because I was doing the scoring, and you would – I could close my eyes and see the game, because of your description of it and the way you painted the picture of what was going on, the uniforms, the weather, the stadium, everything involved. And I said, that's a gift, and you have that gift, and it's amazing. So well-deserved honor for you, not only in this Hall of Fame, but I would think there should be others to follow. And again, I wanted to check with you and see what all are you doing these days? What are you calling, and what's the future plans look like?
Well, sure. Let me go back to your very gracious words about me. And I think anyone or majority of people I've ever heard who broadcast, the compliment you just paid me is what they want to hear, specifically for the medium of radio, which theoretically, as they say, is the theater of the mind. You should be describing the action, whereas TV, you're putting captions with the picture. Two different modes, styles of broadcasting. So I really appreciate that. And whenever I hear that from really anybody, I'm very grateful. And it does, when you use the word gift, I take that to heart, and it propels me to keep going. Mm-hmm. When I taught a course called Introduction to Sports Broadcasting at Francis Marion University, where I taught, it was a book called, I think, the Intro to Sports Broadcasting, some generic title, but it's a great book. Mm-hmm. Still recognized as maybe the best by a man named Tom Hedrick. He's got a very interesting sentence in there, and every time I read it, I would stop and pause and think about it. And he said, this career, that is sports broadcasting, is a calling. Now, usually that terminology is used in reference to ministry or something like that. Right. But I get what he is saying. It's a great book with some penetrating insights. That's just one of them. So every time I kind of hit a low ebb and I go, maybe I'll just put this aside. Something like today happens where you say, hey, would you like to come on?
Yeah.
And I feel the fire getting in the belly. I go, yeah, that'll be great. So I really appreciate anytime anyone says something like that. By the way, I don't think we have enough encouragement in life to each other, whatever that person's gift or ability is. We should say, hey, you're doing a good job at whatever it is.
Right.
We like to be encouraged, and we should do more of it.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of flying under the radar. I'm not out at Francis Marion full time, but I do teach for them online. I had 4 speech courses last term, 2 this term. I'm not as broadcasting as many basketball games as this right now, but I'm probably going to work at least 4 or more in February, and then pick up Newberry baseball. I did fill in baseball last season for the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. If they call me and need help again, I'd be great. I'd love to do it. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, why do we always say that? Of course you believe it. Tomorrow, D2 baseball starts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In fact, Newberry plays my aforementioned employer, Francis Marion. They start their baseball season tomorrow, and D1 will start in a couple of weeks. So I'm still teaching. Very grateful for that, and still broadcasting. And hope it keeps, coming my way. Because like I said, every time I kind of hit this low, you can relate to this, kind of this low ebb, you go, maybe I'll just forget it.
Yeah.
Graciously, something opens up, and I hope it will continue.
Yep.
That's why we're talking. When you call me back or sent me a text back, I said, sure, I'll be happy to do it. I'm always grateful that you asked me to do this, because I don't know if I was the first, but I know I was one of the early listeners. This would be 2016. You said, I'm going to have this show. Would you listen? I said, sure.
Guarantee you. Yep.
And I did listen. And so it's now my time to compliment you on how far you've come, which should be the natural progression, you would hope. By the way, I did meet Gorby that day out in Artie.
Yep.
And it was nice to put, I've seen his face, but to actually shake his hand.
You meet him, yeah.
So
yep.
Yeah.
Good fella. He's a good fella. I had him. Let's tell you how old I am. I taught him in school when he was in high school, and he played basketball for me.
Did he graduate?
Did you ever make it out?
I think so.
I used to coach high school football. The guy who would say, when he was talking about his college days, he'd tell the kids on the field, he'd be like, I wasted 7 years of my life to get this degree so I could coach you guys.
Speaking of college, congratulations to your son, Sammy. I heard you say he scored his first points last night up there in Wheeling.
Yep, got his first points. He hit we shot a 3-pointer, got fouled, and made 3 free throws. I was like, heck yeah.
There you go.
So I told him, got to start somewhere, man. Got to start somewhere. Yeah, last night was a pretty good night because my other son, who coaches at Pikeville, they won their game, and of course the Mountaineers won their game. So it was a pretty good sports night for the Crist family. So we were pretty happy.
Well, congratulations.
Awesome.
Hey, before we conclude this, I do want to say that I feel like I'm kind of an auxiliary West Virginia citizen.
Yeah.
I spent 5 summers there broadcasting baseball. Gary Faulber, who I mentioned, Jim Holland, Steve Crozier, a lot of guys. My buddy, Mr. Keith Thompson, Keith over there in Beckley.
Oh, yeah.
And I told you that after you texted me, I said, hey, I've got an idea. The idea is this. I know these guys all around the country, and I sent each of them. I said, I'll be on there about 8 o'clock. And the reason I wanted them to try to tune in, if they could, is to show an appreciation and gratitude for the commonality. There's a man named Dr. Donald Elder in Portales, New Mexico, teaches at Eastern New Mexico University. He's a scholar, but he's also their broadcaster, has been the broadcaster of the year in New Mexico several times, Hall of Fame out there. Up north, my buddy, Mr. William Downing in the Chicago area. Gary Saunders may be listening. He's down in Florida. I did that to show I've been fortunate to meet all these great people through this career, this job, this hobby, however you want to phrase it. So, and I don't forget them, and that includes you.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. That's awful nice of you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I did want to ask you one thing, because I question this in my mind all the time. You do baseball, you do basketball, and you do football. You do them all very well. Which one's you have a favorite? Do you like doing one over the other?
Oh yeah, baseball. Now they're all three separate. I mean,
right.
they're different.
Yeah. It's a different, no question about it. Yeah,
I mean,
it's different.
You think about basketball. It kind of the action carries itself up and down, up and down.
Right.
Football, kind of a variation on the theme.
Yep.
You huddle, you break, the action, you stop.
All right.
Baseball, as we all know, and it goes kind of up and down, and that's why people or announcers a lot prefer it, so that they can weave in stories or anecdotes. It allows for that. It's kind of hard to squeeze in a lot of really cool stories, with a fast break in basketball.
Right.
I mean,
right.
You just can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
So they're all separate. I mean, the way you approach them. But if you said, would you pick one right now? I'd say give me baseball, basketball, football in that order.
Yeah.
Hockey, forget it. I didn't grow up with it in the South. To me, icing is something on a cake.
Right. Yes, exactly. One of the most horrible experiences I've ever had. Darren got me to broadcast a soccer game one night, and I'm sitting there, and I was fortunate to have there was a guy who I taught with at Midland Trail who coached soccer for 100 years. He was there, and I said, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll help you." So I'm asking him all these questions about the rules, and because I didn't have a clue. The only thing I knew about soccer is one guy's trying to keep it out of the net, the other guy's trying to put it in the net, and so he's telling me these rules and how the kickoff goes and all this. So they get ready to start the game, and I'm feeling good. Well, the kickoff, the guy kicks it backwards to his buddy, and I'm like, what was that? So he's explaining it to me, and I'm like, you have to take over here. I said, I'm lost already. We didn't even start the game yet. So
I'm right with you.
That was a horrid experience. It was tough.
Yeah, I'm thinking, why don't you just pick that big ball up in your hand and throw it?
Yeah, throw it down there in the net, or pick it up and run down there with it and crash into the net, But
speaking of gratitude with soccer, I think, not sure, my dear friend Dr. Doug Challenger, I think, maybe listening, he lives up in Massachusetts. He was a heck of a soccer player when he was younger, and he's a great scholar and educator and has been for a number of years up there at Franklin Pierce University. Awesome. But I didn't grow up with soccer. I did not grow up with hockey.
Yeah.
I don't try to fake it like I know the sport real well.
Yep.
So your meat and potatoes, baseball, basketball, and football, and there's no blinding insight here. But if anyone given the opportunity to do anything, grab it, grasp onto it, and take advantage of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I always like I prefer basketball myself, but that I know basketball better than any of them. I like to think I know all the sports, but I would rather broadcast a basketball game than anything, just because of the pace. Yeah, the pace and there's not a lot of dead time where I have to come up with things to talk about. But I enjoyed, I did a couple minors games over the years, and I did some Oak Hill High School games, baseball games, and I really enjoyed that.
We did softball too.
Yeah, we did some girls softball, and not great at it, But
I did the only play-by-play I ever done was the girls softball by myself.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I left you hanging.
All the others, I've been a caller analyst.
Yeah, there you go. And I enjoyed baseball.
That's a good example. In complete candor, I find softball pretty tough. It's and Gorby can address this better than me. You've got substitutions, and they come in, they come out. It seems it's either a home run or a strikeout,
or a bunt.
Yeah, that's a good example of you got to kind of learn the sport. Yeah. But you were a basketball coach, and I know you know it very, very well. One thing I as you continually grow, is I kind of have grown to really like college baseball. I've really grown in the last couple of years, having appreciation for basketball. So that kind of develops too as you go along.
Yeah, and the more you're around things and the more you see, the more you learn. It obviously gets easier to do, but it gets more enjoyable to do because you enjoy watching. And the thing about broadcasting, you learn real quick is you watch the games. You don't miss miss too many parts.
Well,
of it.
Here's what I like about baseball. Baseball is very redemptive. There's usually, let's say minor league. Well, it's every day, right? 140 games sometimes.
Right.
So if you mess up tonight, there was a time I'd say, oh my gosh, I'd freeze. I said this wrong. I did. Then you realize I got to go back out the next night or the next couple of days. It's very redemptive. It gives you a chance to redeem yourself. Football, you got to sit there and stew for a week, thinking, "Boy, what did I do wrong?" That's another factor of baseball, is that redemptive value, and sports in general. I'm better at it now than I used to be. Okay, I made a mistake. Who doesn't? I got to move on.
All right. Yeah, at least it gives you a chance. Baseball gives you a chance to come back. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because that happens. And there's nothing that bothers, and I've told people this, nothing that bothers a broadcaster. And of course, you know this better than me. You're the professional, not me. But when you do make a mistake, you get a name wrong, something like that, it eats at you. And you got to figure out a way to get over that. If you don't have a chance to, like you said, redeem yourself.
Well, here's where you can come back in. You do a lot of high school football. Now, mom and daddy locally might come up to the press booth, lean in and say, "Hey,
yes.
my son's name is pronounced so-and-so."
Right.
And you go, "Oh, sorry. I'm sorry."
That's right. Yep. Sorry about that. I'll get it right. Oh, I've had that happen several times,
You kind of hit that college level. Well, kid, you're mature now. You struck out, and that's all I can say about it.
That's right. That's right. You actually had a mama one night peck me on the shoulder during a break in the game. I was doing a basketball game. She's like, his name is pronounced. She was very nice. She told me how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry.
I know another time you mispronounced somebody's name during the game.
Yeah.
The guy
Well, I understand. I mean, I have a lot of
the
trouble
guy
with
beside
my
of
name.
you.
Yeah, I want my name. It's Griffith, not Griffin. So I understand. And you want to get things right.
Right.
And the other thing I think you both can relate to is anytime, as with you and Gorby, anytime you say, or a teacher, you're a preacher, you're a singer, no matter what you do before people, there's going to be someone who comes up and says, "Wow, Greg, your show is fantastic." Yeah. And about that time you can't get your head through the door, somebody will come along and say, "You can't do this right, you can't do that."
Yeah.
So there's an element of being a little thick-skinned, although criticisms can be real.
Oh, yeah.
And they can hurt, back to not enough encouragement. Yep. But those who critique you, generally, if they mean well, you can discern that. You know the difference.
Yeah, you're
and
okay with
for
that.
me, there's a difference between critiquing and a criticism. You've had to do this with students. A critique, I think, leads with something positive. I might say, well, I've said it to you. I've said, "Hey, Greg, maybe have your guy turn his mic down a little bit."
Right.
Whereas criticism to me is just negative, where I say, "Greg, you can't do this. Greg, you can't do that. Greg, you can't do that."
Right. Yeah. Can y'all not do this right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're exactly right. And somebody in my position that where, I was a coach and a teacher, and I don't even know how this all started, but so I don't consider myself, a polished professional by any stretch of the imagination. So when I hear things from other broadcasters and listen to them and that sort of thing, you try to learn from that. And because, I've always said you don't want to get on here and not know what you're doing, not know the kids' names, not know the positions. It's very uncomfortable to be in that situation, and you want to put a little work into it. And so many people, I think nowadays, especially because the internet and the streaming and all that's so easily available, there's more and more people doing these games and things like that. And you listen to them, and they'll say number 5 ran the ball or whatever, and you're like, come on, at least learn their names.
Right.
So it's tough sometimes to listen to that and know that those folks don't put the work into it that you do. And then when you listen to somebody like yourself, and again, I've said this over and over, it's so polished and it's so clean and it's so descriptive and just a pleasure to listen to. And my wife don't understand. And I'm sitting there listening to a basketball game who I have absolutely no idea who any of the players are, any of the coaches, don't even know where this place is, but I'm listening to Gary and I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. She don't understand that, but you understand it, and I get it, and Gorby gets it. The people that broadcast get it. You want to listen to that. You want to hear people that are good at it, and I've gotten to the point now where I'm just about as more interested in that aspect of it than I am the actual game itself. I pay attention to the broadcast. And
I know exactly what you're saying. I appreciate it. Your kind words. I remember one time here with the Myrtle Beach Pelicans doing 140 baseball games, and I realized I enjoy the art, the craft, the work, But I really wouldn't sit here and watch 140 games. It's a
Right.
completely different dynamic.
Right.
If you get up and walk down in the stands and start watching the game.
Yep. Yep.
And I always used to get a kick out as someone would say, can I come up there with you, wherever it is? Or I'd say, Greg, can I come up there with you?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, well, sure, come on up. And then people would say, am I going to bother you? And I always think, well, if you're going to bother me, why would I ask you to come up
I'll
here?
let you come up here. Yeah.
Coupled with the fact, I don't know about you, I get tunnel vision. You could be standing right on my shoulder.
Right.
And I'm really not paying attention to you. I'm looking at the field or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and concentrating on that. It's a dynamic that I can't fully explain. I enjoy it. I truly appreciate it.
All right.
And again, hope it keeps going. As long as you're my agent, I think I've got a chance.
There we go. We'll keep it rolling. That's for sure. Before you go, before we have to cut you off here with time wise, your book, I know you did the Meandering into Minor Leagues. Have you written any more books, or are you writing any more books? I thought I saw where you had another one, maybe even before that. I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken you for someone else.
Well, I've had an idea.
Okay.
And the idea is this. and I email and text all these guys I know, and I said, do you think this would work? And it's this: get stories from you and all these guys I know to give stories of how they got, what they went through to get their product on the air.
Right.
Because if I jump in the car, flip it on, all I hear is the end product. Greg Crist just told me the score is 14-7.
Right.
I have no idea he was pulling his hair out 5 minutes before that just to get it on the air.
Right. Right.
Now, it would. I hesitate a little because it would be a niche audience.
Right.
But I've had some of these people respond and say, yeah, that idea probably would work, because people want to hear the stories of what people go through.
Yeah.
Just to, I mean, still to this day,
Oh, yeah.
as sophisticated as we are, I still encounter that. Like, where was I just recently? And it's like, you don't have internet? what
Yeah.
am I going to do?
Yeah.
Or you get to a place and you feel like saying, wait a minute, you told me you had internet. You don't, what do you don't have internet?
Right.
What do you mean, to shout?
Yeah.
So that's an idea brewing. You can feel free to text me privately whether you think it would work or Gorby thinks it would work. But that's one idea right there.
Well, I would just say this, in today's times, so many people, everybody now expects to see games on TV, on the internet.
Yeah.
Everybody expects games to be live streamed. Everybody expects them to be on the radio. 20 years ago, watching a WVU game, you got to see one every 2 or 3 weeks. They just didn't put them on TV. Now, every single game is on. So I think everybody, there has to be 10 times the number of broadcasters now than what there was 10 years ago, I would think, because of all.
Absolutely.
All
no
the
doubt.
Yeah, the live streaming, all that sort of thing. So I think people would be very interested in that. I think people would definitely, because they want to know. They like to know these life stories, where people come from, what they went through, the hardships, the ups and the downs. People enjoy that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. So I don't even have to privately tell you. I'm already giving you a thumbs up for it.
Okay. The exposure, no question, we're diluted. But the upside to it is, hey, if you want to watch whatever you want to watch, you can do it. As far as broadcasting goes, nothing has changed except the numbers are more opportunities.
Right.
But the human brain. You can ask your brother down in Alabama. He's a psychologist.
Yeah, there you go.
But you're listening to someone, and someone says maybe they aren't good, however you define good, which is hard to pin down. Uh-huh. But the brain says, well, Greg's at a certain level. He should sound like this, and he doesn't. Well, you know what? Maybe they aren't. Right. So the upside is there's a lot more chances for people. But as with most fields, that doesn't mean everyone is capable of doing it.
Right. And
that takes me back to what you said, and I mentioned that man. That book about it is a calling. That man, Tom Hedrick, had a lifetime of experience. So he spoke from experience. And he says in that book, he says some really telling things, such as he says, you have to ask yourself, am I the kind of voice someone can listen to for 2 hours? He said, you have to be honest with yourself. And I've told students, I'll say, hey, I'm going to work a game tonight. Very few courses or subjects can I stand in the middle and say, I'm still doing it. Here, you listen to me, and I'll put myself out there.
Right.
But I'll hold it at that. I could talk to you all night.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And you're talking about it, does my voice or will my voice work? Frank Fear has become a really good friend of mine. Frank's an educator and an author, and we're doing a show together up in Morgantown now. But Frank's wife, Kathy, is her name. And every time I see her, she says, "Oh, there's that guy. I love hearing his voice." She always says that to me. And I think the worst thing in the world to hear is your own voice when it's recorded. You're listening to it going back. I'm like, I don't want to hear my voice. And,
well, that's easy to prove. Take a digital record 10 or 12 people, play it back, and their response is, "Hey, is that really me?
Yeah.
Or do I really sound like that?"
Sound like that? Yeah, absolutely.
I'd also be the first to say, it doesn't take that stereotypical old DJ voice from the 50s. There are people broadcasting who not necessarily sound like this one monotone voice type thing.
Right.
But you have to be clear. That's true.
Yeah.
Too.
I always said, one of the problems I always felt like young broadcasters had, or inexperienced broadcasters, was they wanted to sound like a broadcaster.
Exactly.
They want to sound like they're. And these
don't do that.
Don't do that.
No.
Just get on there and be yourself. That was when I decided to start doing this. I thought, I like sports. I like to talk. Just get on there and talk about it. When you're doing a game, just get on there and do the game. Talk about the game. Describe it and tell what's going on.
I don't give a lot of advice, but I'd say this. Someone says, "Who do you think you sound like?" I would say, don't try to sound like fill in the blank.
Right.
Because God only made one of that person as he's made you.
Yep.
You can incorporate some good techniques from certain people and use them. That's completely recommended.
Right.
But you are who you are. We all know that's how it works.
Yep. Want to sound like yourself. That's who you want to sound like. So
pretty much. Yep.
Well, Gary, listen, we are out of time. I appreciate you so much taking the time to join us. Always interesting to talk to you. We'll have you back again. I think the next time we have Gary back, we need to get him on at 7:30 and just go the whole hour.
That's fine with me.
Just go the whole hour and talk to you, because I think we could easily do that with a lot of good information, a lot of fun. So again, thank you so much for doing this on short notice. I appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you again real soon.
You're very, very welcome. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Mr. Gary Griffith, legendary broadcaster in my mind, and great broadcaster. Like I said, I love the guy. When he does those games, it's just you can just close your eyes and see the field.
That's good, man.
Oh yeah, it's awesome the way he does it.
I know what you mean. I like you've gone back and watched your broadcast.
Oh yeah,
and you're watching the game, but you're paying attention to yourself.
Yeah,
because I do that too.
Oh yeah, and like I said, the worst thing in the world to me, and I hate to watch them back because I don't want to listen to me. I hate listening to myself. I hope people out there that listen to games aren't as critical of me as I am, because I don't like listening to my voice. I'll tell you that right now. All right, that's going to do it for another night. Of course, that time flies. Go ahead, man.
Somebody chimed in. West Virginia State Wildlife Center.
West Virginia State Wildlife Center. That's the name of it.
Yep.
All right, we got to research.
French Creek Freddy. Ceremony opens up at 9:50 tomorrow morning.
All right, so we'll be watching.
And it's at 10 o'clock. Yeah. That Concord Charlie has one, but I think that's just like a little social, little hour or something, or brunch or something like that.
Hey, if we'd known sooner, NRN could have been on the scene.
I know, golly. Are we going up there? Nice. All right. Hey, one more thing. A while back, we were talking about WVU recruiting, and I told you the numbers game, 85. I think two more kids. I'm not going to mention names, but I think two more left the program today. Nobody like big just up and coming kids that's kind of behind on the depth chart. So,
go ahead.
Well, like I said, they got to get to the number, and
that's right.
They're still a long ways away until fall camp.
That's right. Yep.
That's when it has to be 85.
Right, when fall camp starts. Yep. So they got a ways to go, and that's going to happen. I mean, that's just that's all part of it. It's just part of the deal. All right, that's going to do it. I said earlier, we've run way over our time, like we always do. We're having a good time. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We look forward to talking to you again next Thursday night on the Courtside with Coach Chris show. I'm Greg Crist for Dave Gorby and Darren McGuffin. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Good night.